Bryce Young wanting to go deep. Lets it loose. Over the middle. Mingo is there. What a grab! One hand catch for number one.
What's up, everybody? What be going on, man? It's your boy Q, aka Uncle Quan. Welcome back to the channel with another film breakdown. All thanks to you guys, man. I put out a poll for you guys to let me know which guy you want to see being talked about in this next film breakdown, and you guys have been crushing it with these votes on the polls. We had over 50% of the votes go towards our guy Jonathan Mingo. Now, Jonathan Mingo is a rookie receiver coming out of Ole Miss with a company of DK Metcalf, Elijah Moore, AJ Brown, who just played in the Super Bowl, guys like that who came out of the same school, and I'm looking forward to this guy. I really think Jonathan Mingo has a very strong upside. I think he has a lot of potential coming into this league, and what better situation than coming into this league with the coaching staff like the Carolina Panthers have. I mean, if you take a look at this Panthers blueprint episode 1, you guys take a glimpse and see what this coaching staff really is like. This is a coaching staff that can bring out the potential in a lot of guys, that can bring out the true dog in everybody that's around him. So I really think Jonathan Mingo is coming into the best situation possible. Not even to mention that we drafted the best quarterback coming out of this class alone, man. So with that being said, I think they're going to be able to build that chemistry from day one. With them both being able to learn the game together, they're going to build chemistry and continue to build chemistry for years to come. And I think they're going to be a dangerous duo when it comes to working together, man. Jonathan Mingo also gets to work with guys like Steve Smith Sr., who's a Panther legend, a future Hall of Famer, somebody who's giving him advice and worked with him closely. Anytime we mention Steve Smith Sr., we already know he's been in this league for over 10 years. He can be a very big role model for Jonathan Mingo coming into this league and helping him learn the ropes of this league, man. You also got our wide receiver coach, Sean Jefferson, who gave him a lot of praise coming out of the draft.
He's intact. He's very mature for his age. Very smart. He picked things up well. He's a fast processor. This kid is a self-starter. He's tough. He fits our offense perfect. I'm excited for this kid. He'll give a call, give you a text like, "Hey, I need to go over this real quick." And you know, he wants to know. And then one of the things that we talk about in our room is find out before you get found out. You know what I'm saying? So he's doing a lot of finding right now. So the sky's the limit for this kid. I'm just blessed to be working with him.
From what I got out of that interview, I feel like Jonathan Mingo is a workaholic. He's going to be easy to work with because he's very teachable. So with that being said, I think he's going to translate into the NFL just fine, man, and especially being around this coaching staff, like I said before. Now, as far as expectations, personally, I'm not expecting him to come in here and have 1,000-yard receiving or nothing like that, man. I am expecting him to be productive right away. I think he's going to have an immediate impact, but my expectations are not necessarily through the roof. Yes, he was a high draft pick. Yes, he's going to have a lot of expectations on him generally, but personally, I'm looking for anywhere between 500, 600 yards coming from this guy, maybe even 3 to 4 touchdowns, if that. So I'm looking for Jonathan Mingo to make a splash rookie debut, man, as far as the whole season go, and we're gonna see what his upside truly is when the season comes down, man. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into this film study. I appreciate y'all pulling up. Hit that like button for your boy if you haven't already, man. Subscribe if you ain't already subscribed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video on this amazing channel. It's up from here. Let's go ahead and get into this film break. All right, guys, let's talk about this first play against Central Arkansas Bears. If you take a look at the bottom of your screen, this corner right here is playing press. I mean, he made a mistake right there. If you're going to play press, we talk about this all the time on this channel by now, y'all. You already know. If you're going to play press with a big body receiver like this with a lot of speed on him and a lot of upside, you're going to have to get your hands on him. But even when you do get your hands on him, he's still big. He's big enough to use his body to get those hands off of him and still continue his route. Now, let's watch this play run out. I'm going to let the play run before we talk about it. All right, let's talk about this play. So if you take a look at the bottom of your screen, he does try to get hands on him, but Jonathan Mingo does a great job of countering his hands with his. So once he gets those hands out, he gets his hands out just as fast as him and gets it out the way. And he's able to brush past that receiver to get that outside leverage, giving him the sideline and the outside of the field. That makes it easy for the quarterback to put this ball on the money. Now, this ball should have been thrown out in front of him, but because it was thrown behind him, Jonathan Mingo had to make a smooth adjustment. I mean, this adjustment is actually insane. To be able to turn his eyes and find the ball, even though it's thrown behind him, he's still able to catch that ball off the helmet of the defender. The defender is basically giving him a whole hug right here, and he's still snagging the ball off of the helmet of the defender. Let's take another look at it here. Quarterback throws the ball behind him. Jonathan Mingo, short-handed, catch radius is insane, out of this world, and he still catches that ball and snags it off of him. That's insane. That's truly athletic. Off rip, you already see that Jonathan Mingo is not here to play, man. All right, guys, let's talk about later in this game his ability to be able to throw a block. Now, this is pivotal, especially for what we're planning to do in that run game. We need people to get in there and be able to throw a block. We need you to be able to get your hands dirty. We need you to get in that way and get the defender out of the play, and that's what he does right here. So let's let this play run real quick, and we'll talk about it. All right, run coming left. Jonathan Mingo at the bottom of your screen takes this play. Take the player completely out of the play. So let's let it run again. All right, bottom of your screen. Jonathan Mingo comes up, throws a block, open this lane right up for this running back to run right past him and get some extra yards. Let it run one more time. That's a very good block. I mean, he took the player right out the play, took him to the sideline with him, and said, "You're not about to try to make no play right here." Basically, little boy, this man. All right, guys, take a look at the bottom of your screen. Here's another example of his ability to throw those blocks. I mean, if you're going to be big like this and you're going to have a lot of strength, you need to be able to block, and that's going to translate directly into the NFL, especially against corners like this. I mean, he's pretty small, but in the league, you're going to have to be able to use that strength to your advantage. So let's take a look at it right here. Let's let it run. That's insane. I mean, he put him on his ass, put him in the dirt. I mean, he had no chance to get up and try to make a play on this on the ball. Take another look at it. Little boy. I mean, just a little boy. Little boy lined up in front of a grown-ass man, and I mean, he puts him in the dirt. There's no chance that this corner can get up and try to make a play on the ball at all, man. All right, guys, take a look at the bottom of your screen. We're going to take another look at Jonathan Mingo later in this game. Pretty sizable lead, 31-0, but they're still airing it out to secure that lead even further. So let's let this play run before we talk about it. All right, corner sneaking up. Beautiful snag by him. But let's talk about it real quick. Now, Jonathan Mingo is lined up at wide out, of course. What this corner does, he tries to get Jonathan Mingo on the inside. Now, that's fine because Jonathan Mingo wants inside leverage, so that works in his advantage. The corner, I mean, he does his job. Yes, he wants to keep him inside. He has safety help over top, which is this guy right here. Now, he's trusting his safety to be able to help him. But what Jonathan Mingo does, he runs right past both of them. So with that corner covering that flat, he has to run with them to help out his safety. And the safety is over top of him. But Jonathan Mingo uses that big body to lean him out the way without touching him, basically, to kind of shield him to get that one-handed snag. I mean, that's an insanely athletic play. Let's let it run one more time. Jonathan Mingo is pushed on the inside. Jonathan Mingo wants that inside leverage. Gets outside of that corner and right in front of that safety, and he snags that thing with one hand. I mean, the hands, y'all. The hands, time after time, you're going to see him secure those catches without a problem, man. I mean, I can't wait to see this translate into the league. All right, guys, let's move on to this Georgia Tech game. Let's take a look at the bottom of your screen where Jonathan Mingo is coming from wide out into a motion. We're going to let this play run real quick before we talk about it. All right, running like a deep out route. Boom. All right, Panther Nation, this should be very familiar by now. If you take a look at the bottom of your screen, again, he's coming in motion. And what he does, you have to pick, right? We talk about this mesh concept from time to time because you're going to have to get used to it, especially under Frank Wright, who likes to run these mesh concepts. So what happens, this linebacker is basically frozen up because he has two guys rushing right past him. He can only do but so much to cover his zone. He can't leave his zone. So what happens is Jonathan Mingo is able to run on the inside, and then he gets to the outside where the corner is having to cover somebody else. So that makes it easy for Jonathan Mingo to get free. Running one more time. Runs past the linebacker. I can't see past that screen, but he does get past the corner who's occupied with somebody else. Safety is just way too late to get to Jonathan Mingo. He's already wide open at that point. Easy out route. I mean, that's just money. All right, guys, moving on. If you take a look at the bottom of your screen, take a look at the corner matchup. This corner is sagging off, obviously playing zone. So this gives Jonathan Mingo plenty of room to do whatever he wants, man. So what he does right here, he runs a 5-step curl. Boom. Turns around. Throws a stiff arm. Makes a move on his safety and gets right past him. I mean, this is full display of his athleticism right here because he's able to throw that arm in there, and he's also able to make a move with his feet. So take another look at it right quick. Again, if you're going to give him that much room, you're going to have to come up and make a play on that. The corner fails to come up and make a play. He didn't break his feet down. I mean, he already He already got fucked up once he didn't break his feet down. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring it back one more time real quick. I'm picking at this corner real quick because, again, he did not break down trying to get Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Mingo makes a quick turn with his hips after he gets that ball. The corner fails to get him down. Jonathan Mingo gets right past him, and then he makes a move on this safety. This safety is trying to break down, but Jonathan Mingo switches his direction very quickly, allowing the safety to have to turn his hips. But he's too late. He's too late. There's nobody behind him to help him. That's an easy money for Jonathan Mingo, man. All right, guys, if you take a look at the top of your screen, Jonathan Mingo is lined up at wide out. Obviously, we're in mid-play, so we didn't see the full formation. So let's let it run real quick. Pretty soft zone, so Jonathan Mingo recognizes that, so he's kind of running like a soft route, turning his head towards the quarterback, letting him know, like, hey, I'm open. If they're going to sag off like this, I need the ball right now. So what happens, he gets that ball. The safety is too late to get there. And what he does is he go up and get that ball, man. Look at this catch radius. Look at this catch radius. That's insane. And then he secures the catch even after getting hit. That's amazing right there. All right, guys, moving on to this game against Vanderbilt. I mean, Jonathan Mingo by himself went absolutely crazy. I mean, he had 9 receptions, 247 yards, and 2 touchdowns alone in this game. That's just insane, man. I can't wait to see this talent on full display in the NFL. Now, if you take a look at the top of your screen, the corner is obviously in zones. Look at how far he's backed off. So let's let this play run real quick and we'll talk about it. All right, corner is in deep third. He turns his hip towards the sideline. Jonathan Mingo runs a post route. Now, this ball is thrown behind him. This thing should be thrown on the money. All right, so let's talk about it real quick, y'all. This corner is obviously sagged off playing deep third. What happens is, so in a deep third, you have to keep everything in front of you. You cannot let anything get past you. You have to run basically with your hips turned toward the sideline, keeping everything in front of you, like I said before, and make sure nothing gets past you. Now, Jonathan Mingo, he gets that inside leverage easily because he's running a deep third. He's not worried about anything on the inside because he has inside help. Now, what happens is he runs a deep post, which attacks deep third. So Jonathan Mingo gets past that deep third. And I mean, the corner can't really do much because he's in his zone. He can't do much to come out of it. He's already beat because he doesn't have any help. Now, this ball was thrown a little bit under. This should have been thrown on the money, but I'm not worried about it. Coming into the league, Bryce Young is going to clean that up. And best believe if Bryce Young see Jonathan Mingo running free and he's by himself, that's an easy touchdown, man. Easy touchdown. Right, moving on to later in this game, this is another example of how Jonathan Mingo is able to throw blocks and use that big body and his strength to open up lanes in the running game. So let's let it run real quick. They pull him in motion to throw a crack block on his edge right here. And that's easy for the running back. All he has is one-on-one right now. So he don't have to worry about dodging 2 defenders. All he has to worry about is getting past 1 defender, which he does by lowering his shoulder. Now let's take a look at Jonathan Mingo right here. Completely takes this edge out of the play, allowing that running back to get right into the end zone. Beautiful block by Jonathan Mingo. All right, guys, take a look at the top of your screen until later in this game. The corner is giving this guy a lot of room. So let's let it run real quick. Jonathan Mingo comes and throw a pick real quick, act like he's going to fake a block. Runs right past that linebacker, and he's completely free. All right, guys, let's take another close look at it. Take a look at the top of your screen. Watch how he comes out and throws a pick. Boom. Throws a pick, allowing this guy to come out of the backfield easily. And then what happens is this linebacker comes up thinking that he's running maybe like a cross route. And Jonathan Mingo fakes him out kind of like as a decoy on this route. And then he turns on the jets from 0 to 100 real quick. Got right past that linebacker. And that's easy money. That's easy money. Easy touchdown. All right, moving on to later in this game. Take a look at the bottom of your screen where Jonathan Mingo is lined up. The corner is sagging off, respecting the speed of Jonathan Mingo. Obviously, this is a zone situation for the defense. Let it run. Jonathan Mingo comes back in a wide receiver screen. Let him cook. Throws a stiff arm on this defender. And, I mean, turns on the jets. There's no way nobody's catching him. Showing you that speed burst. And, I mean, just the strength as well by throwing that stiff arm. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of different ways we can use Jonathan Mingo in this offense. Let him get the ball in his hands and let him do his thing. I mean, he's throwing stiff arms. He's putting on the jets. Guys, let's move on to this game against LSU. Take a look at the bottom of your screen where Jonathan Mingo is lined up against press coverage, man to man. Let's let it run real quick. Beautiful ball by the quarterback as well, y'all. All right, guys, so let's talk about this play. Lined up in press coverage, you're going to have to get your hands on Jonathan Mingo. So the corner fails to get his hands on him quick enough to throw off his route. Jonathan Mingo, again, using that big body, using his hands to get those hands off of him, and he gets that inside leverage. Now, because they're in man coverage, the corner does not have a safety over top. This safety is picking up this slot receiver right here. So what happens is Jonathan Mingo is able to run past him with absolutely nobody back there. So that's easy money for Jonathan Mingo. Take another look at it one more time. Gets that inside leverage. The corner is too late getting there. Doesn't get hands on him. I mean, he's already beat. That's just pure athleticism by Jonathan Mingo. Being able to beat man coverage. I think he's going to do that a lot in the league, especially once he's comfortable in our system. All right, guys, let's move on to later in this game. The game is tied up. Now, let's talk about the bad with Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Mingo is lined up at the top of your screen. Now, what Jonathan Mingo does right here, he kind of gives up on his route. Let's let it run. I'm going to let y'all see what I'm talking about. So he turns around, and I mean, he just stands there, and his quarterback is already in trouble. He gets sacked. Now, let's take another look at it again. Now, right here, I would like to see Jonathan Mingo continue to try to create separation. Now, what he does with his route, I mean, he's already covered. He's past the chains. So at this point, I would like to see him try to create more space, to get more separation from the corner, especially playing with a guy like Bryce Young, who likes to extend plays, get out of that pocket, and find his receiver to get open. So when it comes to the scramble drill, Jonathan Mingo is going to have to get used to, getting outside of his route. So if his route is covered up, if his route is defeated pretty much, he's going to have to get used to basically creating his own space. And because he doesn't, his quarterback doesn't have anybody to throw to. And I mean, he's already sacked. So again, look for Bryce Young in the future to get out of that pocket. And I would like to see Jonathan Mingo continue to run his route and not just stand there. You know what I mean? All right, guys, moving on to this Texas A&M game. Let's take a look at the screen where Jonathan Mingo is the third receiver in this kind of trips formation. I'm going to let this play run before we talk about it. Let's let it run. Wide open. Wide open. That's money. Great ball. All right, guys, let's get a closer view of this play. So what happens, they're running man coverage right here. So that allows everybody to kind of get tangled up. And 14 obviously has to cover Jonathan Mingo. He gets tangled up in this play right here. I mean, that's beautiful play design, especially against man coverage to allow your guys to get free. Jonathan Mingo doesn't have hands on him, and I mean, he's wide open. The quarterback does a great job of throwing it outside the numbers to give Jonathan Mingo room to run after the catch too. Let's take another look at it. All right, got man coverage. 14 gets tangled up. Easy money, beautiful ball by the quarterback. That should be a touchdown. I would like to see him not get caught on that play. All right, guys, let's move on to later in this game. Red zone situation, again, showing you that we have another red zone threat. We already talked about DJ Chark being a red zone threat, and we already talked about Laviska, who could be another red zone threat as well. So let's take another look at another red zone threat that we're getting, adding to our receiving core. Take a look at the bottom of your screen. Jonathan Mingo is coming in a motion right here. Now, it looks like 20 is following him, meaning this is man coverage. Now, if you can't get your hands on Jonathan Mingo, again, we already talked about if Jonathan Mingo is running free, he's pretty much open. So running behind the line of scrimmage makes it harder to play man coverage without being able to get your hands on him. That allows Jonathan Mingo to get to this flat quickly without getting hands on him. And I mean, that's money. That's money. I expect to see this concept a lot on the Frank Wright as well. And I mean, he's just too late to get there. There's nothing you can do about this, especially when you're playing man-to-man. Against zone, this would be a lot easier to cover, but this is not zone defense. Again, they're playing man-to-man on the goal line, and that's money. All right, guys, let's move on to this Alabama game. One of those highly anticipated games. Definitely a back-and-forth shootout kind of game, too. Little did Jonathan Mingo know this was the last time he would be seeing his future quarterback that he is working with here in Carolina. And now let's take a look at the top of your screen where Jonathan Mingo is lined up in the slot. I'm going to let this play run before we talk about it, of course. Jonathan Mingo uses his body to lean that defender out of the way. Runs like an out route, I believe. Kind of comes off the screen so I can't see it fully. All right, take another look at this play. All right, so we have zone coverage, of course. Jonathan Mingo uses his body to get that inside leverage to lean the defender on the inside. And then what I believe he does off the screen, he breaks to that outside because the linebacker is already on the inside. So that makes it easy for Jonathan Mingo to get to the outside without anybody being there. Guys, moving on to later in this game. Again, this is a shootout kind of game. 17-17. We need something to happen right here to take the lead. Again, another red zone threat example right here. Expect to see Jonathan Mingo used a lot in motion, because when he's in motion and nobody's able to get hands on him, that's going to allow him to run free. And if you let him run free, that's easy money. So they run a receiver screen. And I mean, he's untouched. This is an easy play for Jonathan Mingo. Expect to see a lot more of this concept under Frank Wright. Easy money. Give him the ball. Let him do his own thing, man. I think he's really good with the ball in his hands. And he can make a lot happen, especially with his speed and his strength and his vision with running with the ball. So I think this is easy money for us, y'all. All right, guys, moving on to later in this game. This is a 3-point lead right now by Alabama. So we need to make something happen if you're Ole Miss. Take a look at the top of your screen. You got a corner lined up pretty close to Jonathan Mingo. The corner does get his hands on him a little bit, but Jonathan Mingo gets those hands right out of the way. He runs a deep out route, and I mean, he's wide open. All right, let's take another look at this play. He gets that inside leverage, leans that corner on the inside, and then gets outside. The ball is thrown right under him, but he's still able to adjust, y'all. Time after time, you will see this catch radius, and it's going to translate easily into the NFL, y'all. Especially, again, with Bryce Young, who has a very good understanding of the game. He has a very good understanding of how to beat coverages and throw away from the coverages only where his guys can get it. So you're going to see a lot of our receivers make those adjusting kind of catches. That we talked about it already with DJ Chark, and we talked about it with LaVisca. And, of course, we're talking about it now with Jonathan Mingo. You're going to have to be able to adjust to those catches, because Bryce Young, again, he's going to throw it only where you can get it, away from coverages. And a perfect example right here where he can catch the ball away from coverages, and he can show you that his catch radius is large. All right, guys, there you have it, man. Jonathan Mingo, I think he has a strong upside. Again, my personal expectations are not through the roof when it comes to Jonathan Mingo. I just want him to come in here and be productive and continue to learn and show that he can improve throughout the season. Again, he has a very strong upside, so I think he's going to, of course, be able to build that chemistry when it comes to working with Bryce Young all through the season and for years to come. I think this was a great pick by Carolina Panthers, of course, because we definitely needed more receiver help, especially with DJ Chark only being on a 1-year proven kind of deal. We don't know if DJ Chark is going to be with us next year, so Jonathan Mingo could step up and take on that number 1, maybe number 2 role. We're going to see who is going to be between, Terrence Marshall Jr. or maybe even Jonathan Mingo. And then we got people like Shy Smith and so on. So we're going to see who's going to be able to step up and take that number 1 role. But I do like this pick with Carolina. I think he's going to be a very perfect fit. Again, we have the staff to help this guy develop to be a dog. And we already seen throughout this video, he has a lot of potential to be a very dominant receiver in this league. This guy reminds me of AJ Brown. AJ Brown, who also has a very high catch radius. Somebody who can use his body to lead defenders out of the way. Somebody who can make those big time catches. I think Jonathan Mingo is going to be an exact replica of what AJ Brown can be. So I'm looking forward to seeing Jonathan Mingo in his rookie season. I will be at the first preseason game to watch him play for the first time. And y'all stay tuned so y'all can see that video as well, man. As always, I appreciate y'all pulling up. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. As always, fam, stay true to yourself. Keep being you. Follow those dreams, turn those dreams into goals, and go get it, fam. Let me know in the comment section who you guys want to see being talked about in the next film breakdown, and I'll definitely include those guys in the poll, man. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace. Thanks for tuning in, family. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. What is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is where you can bet as little as to $5 on any sports and get a chance to win 25 times your money. They have NFL, NBA, WNBA, MLB, NASCAR, and plenty of other options to optimize your money. Be sure to use that promo code to double your first deposit of up to $100, and they will match your first deposit. If you need any extra advice, you have myself and my brother/partner, C. Dougie, to help you with full breakdowns and analysis to increase your chances of winning. We have a group that has seen plenty of interesting results since joining. We also meet twice a week on Zoom, where we discuss our analysis on each matchup and discuss injury reports and more. We love to pick each other's brains and have fun discussing important games throughout the week. If you want to be a part of it, comment below or DM me on my Instagram at uncle.quan so we can get you up in here, family.